touch my hair and other things I still have to explain. So the title alone is already funny, and specifically squarely in Phoebe's voice. And it's just really exciting to be introducing Phoebe because I've known her since I was in college. We went to college together, so we've known each other for over a decade. And I think the thing about Phoebe that's most consistent is her clarity of voice and just how Phoebe always is. She's unafraid to say things that other people find hard to talk about, and yeah, I'm like getting emotional because it's been a long run with Phoebe. So I'm just really proud of her. You guys know her from Two Dope Queens. You guys know her from So Many White Guys, the podcast on WNYC, and you'll soon be able to see her in Jill Soloway's new show, I Love Dick. So Phoebe is all over the place, and we're just really excited to have her here tonight as she launches her book of essays. So let's really give it up for Phoebe. She's about to read from her book right now, which is going to be a treat, and then it'll be followed by a Q&A with Katja Blichfeld, who is the co-creator, writer, and director of High Maintenance. You guys might know it from HBO. It just renewed for a second season, so we're excited about that. So without further ado, Phoebe Robinson.
How are you guys doing? Good? Can I get more energy then? How are you guys doing? Good? That's great. I'm feeling great. I got a sassy dress on, some white lady chicken cutlets. I am ready to do this. So this is my book, You Can't Touch My Hair, which I'm very excited about, forward by Jessica Williams, and it's a labor of love. I'm really excited about it, and hope you guys all like it and buy it so I can be rich or not. It's fine. No pressure, but also a little bit of pressure. I'm really excited about this book. I start my book tour tomorrow. I'll be going around the country reading from this and talking to people, and I'm happy to do it here with Refinery 29 to kick things off. They've been very supportive of me back when I was doing like web series like Woke Bay, so they're amazing. Clap it up for Refinery 29. They're amazing. Also, can I say I have a team? Is that annoying? That feels very Khloe Kardashian, but I feel like I have a team now. So I just need to eat out of salad containers, and I'll be a real Kardashian. But anyway, my team, Kate Napolitano, who's my editor, and clap it up for her because I really, I called her a lot and kept her on the phone for like hours, being like, I don't know what I'm doing in my life. And that's exactly how I sound. And then my publicist, Melina, who is amazing. Clap it up for her. She's fantastic. My lit agent, Robert, who is amazing. He discovered me back in November 2014, sent me an email, and it changed my life. So I really love him. And then Melina did my hair and makeup, and she made me look like a hot-ass bitch tonight. So thanks for that. And then my manager, Shanoa, is here. She's been fantastic. I've been with her. It's been, 4 years? It's been 4 years. She knew me when I had like a busted-ass baby fro, and she still loved me anyway. And we came a long way to this like low-budget Beyonce weave. And then Mackenzie, my agent, is amazing. I don't know where she is. Oh, hi, Mackenzie. She's very cute. And then that's enough. I don't want to bore you guys. So anyway, I'm going to read an essay from my book that I feel is totes timely because of the election and everything that's going on right now. So I have an essay called Dear Future Female President, My List of Demands, because I'm really excited. Fingers crossed that it's Hillary, not Donald Trump. But if it is Donald, I will just move to Canada and be a babysitter for Justin Trudeau. So I have a backup plan. I'm so sad. I don't know about you guys, but I'm really sad. Just want to read you a little bit of this, and you know what? I hope you guys like it. And if you don't, just don't say anything. Great. Okay. Great. Dear future female president, my list of demands. Future female president, I know handing you a list of my demands without properly introducing myself is approaching Kanye West creating the Yeezy fashion line levels of overconfidence. Although now that I mention it, I don't even know if he was overconfident. Sure, it's a little cray that he apparently based Yeezy Season 1 off the following fleeting thought. What if my clothes only came in beige number 267, aka Law and Order's iced tea skin tone, and everyone bought them? What if? But what do you know? His clothes have sold out nationwide, so it seems he had just the right amount of confidence. Well, you can rest assured I'm not Yeezy level confident right now. I'm in the presence of your greatness, and my confidence is kind of shaky, like that French guy who walked across the tightrope in the documentary Man on Wire. I mean, hello, you're the first female president of the United States. I'd be a fool if I weren't bugging out. It's such an honor for me to be communicating with you. Oh, right. Who am I? Got it. My name is Phoebe Robinson. I'm a stand-up comedian / writer / actress, and I'm a huge fan of your work. I've been following you ever since I read that BuzzFeed article listing all the awesome things you've done that one time for years. I've been told some of my best qualities include excellent listening skills, a mastery of finding the best GIF to express what I'm feeling inside instead of actually using words, and my ability to have a stank face locked and loaded when someone acts a stone cold fool as Steve Madden. But by far, the best thing about me is my perseverance. I'll give you an example. Remember on Grey's Anatomy when Izzy stole a heart for Denny, a heart transplant patient she fell in love with, but he died anyway? It was all very sad, but then things got redonky congulous because months later she started having sex with his ghost. Many fans of the show were like, the Lord is testing me with this storyline. I'm out. But not I. I was like, the Lord is testing me. Well, good thing I brought my TI-83 calc and my number 2 pencil. Let's do this. I kept watching Grey's in spite of all the intercourse, aka ghost intercourse. You know, I'm not overwhelmingly proud about that level of commitment, but nevertheless, I deserve some props for sticking through this crazy plot. I mean, I stuck it out past the Izzy lighting scented candles for sex with what is essentially recycled air from her home's central cooling system scene. I overlooked her and Ghost Denny's O-faces. And finally, when it was revealed that the intercourse was actually her hallucinating due to a brain tumor, I didn't dive out my window because I wasted several weeks on this storyline. Instead, I watched 2 more seasons rather than do something productive like getting my student loan payments in order, #priorities. The point is, future female president, when it came to Grey's, I gave it my all because I'm a ride or die chick. And more importantly, I want to be ride or die chick for you. However, in order for that to happen, you have to take care of a few things for me and all women. So without further ado, here's my list of demands that should be super easy for you to conquer. Number 1, make a law that requires all the magazine writers, bloggers, and entertainment news journalists who insist on perpetuating the thigh gap obsession to forever be forced to own a brand new iPhone that doesn't fit the old charger. Forever, ever. That way they can't give their phone some juice and will live with the nightmare of their phones dying mid-text, resulting in that ellipses bubble appearing on their friends' phone screens before vanishing like a David Blaine magic trick. Harsh punishment probs, but it seems fitting for this thigh gap obsession they created to make women feel bad about themselves. 1A. I'm not saying thigh gap or lack thereof should never be discussed. Half the time I'm walking, I'm contemplating turning the heat from my thighs rubbing together into a mobile BYOSI, bring your own s'mores ingredients station, where I charge people $5 to warm up their s'mores. You know, now that I mention it, it seems like a good idea to try and turn this into a possible business venture with any and all the Shark Tank investors. I think it'd be called the company Still I Thigh. It would only be open during Black History Month. And while customers cook their s'mores, I recite the Maya Angelou poem, Still I Rise, #Black Excellence. Okay. Number 2, right-click and send to trash all the women who say they're a carry. Even if a woman, yes, fuck all of you. Stop with the lies, okay? Even if the woman who says this is Nobel Peace Prize laureate Malala, one of the most important activists of our time, no one is a Carrie. And I repeat, no one is a Carrie. And why would anyone want to be? She kind of sucks. I mean, hello, her entire relationship with Aiden. She seemingly worked about 3 hours a week and was surprised she didn't have money. She was like, yes, I've been through that, girl, yes. And after Mr. Big, her on-again, off-again beau, stated that he was tired of New York and he's moving to Napa Valley, she replied, when you're tired, you take a Napa, you don't move to Napa. The puns, you guys, the goddamn puns. They were endless and ridiculous, as if she was constantly competing on that game show at midnight. And no woman I know is about that Chris Hardwick life. So let's be real. At best, us ladies are just a bunch of Mirandas with a slightly better wardrobe. And at worst, we're a bunch of Magdas, a.k.a.s Miranda's housekeeper. Which means we're a bunch of nosy bitches who rifle through people's belongings and let them know they masturbate too much. Okay, I'll read one more and then we can get this thing started. Oh, two more. Okay, great. Number 6. Add the following sex position to the Kama Sutra. RRM, missionary. I mean, yeah, it's just missionary position, which is my jam, but it sounds way cooler when I add the word reverse to it. I mean, everything sounds better with reverse in the mix. Think about it. Reverse 360 dunk, awesome. Reverse osmosis, perfect icebreaker for meeting Bill Nye. The movie Memento, classic because so much of it is told in reverse. So help a sister out because I'm tired of judgy mofos staring me down when I say I'm #team missionary. Okay, 2 more and then I'm done for real. Hi. Great. She was taking a picture and I wanted to look cute. Cool. I feel like I'm sweating like Whitney Houston up here. It's cool. Thank you. Oh, you guys, don't clap, but please. Great. Number 9, Dylan McDermott and Dermot Mulroney. Nick Nolte and Gary Busey. Gabriel Byrne and Peter Gabriel. Quit making so many white men that get confused for each other. Now future female president, I'm not entirely sure how you can fix this, but something must be done because these white dudes with similar names and or faces are too much. Older black people cannot handle this shit. And I'm tired of spending 4/5 of my Christmas vacation explaining the difference between Bill Paxton and Bill Pullman to my mom. Finally, number 10. Speaking of white dudes, make it so that Michael Fassbender is legally required to have sex with me. I mean, that's a great idea. Which is a bill I'm pretty sure everyone in Senate and House of Representatives would automatically get behind. I mean, don't you feel like the phrase reaching across the aisle was created for situations like this? And before you think he'd be opposed to this, I've done the research. He's already into black chicks. His exes include Zoe Kravitz and Sleepy Hollow's and Cole Bahari. So why wouldn't he be down to get with an above average looking black chick, me, who has a middling comedy career and 750 points on her Walgreens Bounce Rewards card? Also, because he's a black woman, I wouldn't have to explain anything to him about black hair, but he still read this book because he loves me. I just get the sense that he's the type of dude who would straight up buy our half-black daughter a #Black is Beautiful t-shirt and help her with her book report on Thurgood Marshall. That's mad cute. Okay. Real appropriate.
So now we're gonna welcome Katja Blichfeld up
Woo!
here.
Wait, is this mic on?
Hello,
Can you guys hear me?
hello. Yeah,
Okay, great, cool, great. I know how things work. Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Oh, thank you.
So good. I just read the book. I feel very lucky that I had this advanced copy. You guys are in for a treat if you buy this book.
Aw, thank you.
It's just, I mean, I know you've heard this before, but it's just it's very authentic. I know that's important to the millennials. I'm a Gen X myself, but I also appreciate authenticity. I just feel like it's so reading it felt like I was hanging out with you. I feel like it was like a sneak preview into our future friendship that I'm sure we will have after all of this. I like read it and I was like laughing out loud a lot, and my husband Ben was like sometimes around and would catch me laughing and be like, "Oh, you really like this girl. You guys are probably going to be friends." And I'm like, "We probably are."
Yes.
Yeah, no, we probably are.
Yes, we already are.
Yeah, no, we are. We're on our way.
Yes.
But this is escalating the situation a little, and I like it.
Great. It's great.
Yeah. So you guys are, seriously, it's so good. Like I was like laughing out loud a lot, and that doesn't happen much with books. And I like I like that you made yourself vulnerable. I feel like you did, and that's not, you think with like a memoir that's just a given that people are going to do that, and they don't. They don't always do that. I'm not going to name any names, but there are some.
Can you whisper in my ear?
Later, not in the Facebook live stream, but later I'll share my thoughts with you about that. But I just really appreciated that you made yourself vulnerable, and just like your thoughts are just so accessible right there for us, and just so thought-provoking and fucking funny. Oh, can I cuss?
Of course.
Okay, all of a sudden I'm like,
live your best life. Do what you want to do.
Well, it's great. That's part of my best life is using the F word a lot. I have notes because, stoner. Need the notes. I need the notes sometimes. Well, no, first, can I just start with, you dedicated this to your parents, which I think is very sweet. I feel like that's like the nicest thing you can do. Tell us a little bit about your parents. Just a little bit. Give us a little primer on Octavia. And what's your dad's name? Philip.
Really cute. So my mom is Octavia, my dad's Philip, and they're from the Midwest, from Cleveland, Ohio, and they're very sweet. My dad, they're both vegan now, which is kind of annoying for Thanksgiving. But
that was a fact I found very interesting.
Yeah.
How did they when did they become vegan? It wasn't from your influence. It was just like they watched something.
Not my influence. I just had Shake Shack, so I'm like a garbage monster.
But they read the Michael Pollan book or something. And I don't know.
My parents were like, they were getting older, and they're kind of like, "Oh, we always feel bad after eating." I'm like, "Yeah, that's called life." And they're like, "No, there's another way. Just don't eat meat." And I was like, hard pass. But they've been vegan for like 7 years. They're in great shape. They're like pretty strict about it, but they're not like in your face. Like they're not
preachy.
They don't divulge that info when you meet them. They keep it close to the vest.
Do they tell people who come over for dinner, or is it just like, surprise,
they don't have
there's
people
no
over.
Animal products? Oh,
they're
don't
like
have friends.
very like they have the walls up.
Oh, okay.
But they're great, but they're just like, we don't need to hang out.
No, my parents are like that too.
You know what I mean? I think you get to a certain age, it's like, I do not want to have to clean a dish for anyone other than the person I'm fucking.
Sure.
So that's my parents. That's my parents, right? That's marriage. Great.
You think that's what it comes down to?
Yeah. That's marriage, right?
I'm trying to imagine my mom thinking that, and it's not coming. But yeah, I like to think that that's what your parents are thinking.
Yeah, they're great. They're very smart and wonderful and lovely, and they're in love, which is great. And I mean, they're kind of, I talked about this before, but they're like too in love, which I'm kind of like, it makes me want to throw up. Like, so my mom likes to call my dad Big Daddy.
No, and you said in your book too that you don't, that's like a thing that you like are repulsed by.
Yeah, whenever people like call like, "Hey Daddy," it's fucking gross.
I can't handle it either.
It is gross. Like, why? Like, how can you say that word and then instantly get wet? Like, I don't understand.
Somebody out there is, though.
Is this
like a lot of
appropriate?
People.
Sorry. This is going to sell
we just
so
went there
many
right
books.
away.
Selling all the books. Great.
Speaking of that's a great segue for me to go into. You mentioned in the excerpt that you read, which is one of my favorite chapters, by the way. Mm-hmm. Please let it be Hillary. Anyway, I like that chapter. You did mention that you would like if she could get people comfortable with using the word vagina, which I appreciated. I want to talk a little bit more about that. It is a word that really freaks a lot of people out.
Yeah.
Have you always been comfortable with that word?
Yeah, I think so, and I think I've been doing stand-up for about 8 years, and so I feel like my comedy is getting like more feminist as I go along. So I just want to talk about like the female body, and it's so funny because sometimes there'll be guys in the audience who cringe, and I'm like, I hear about penises all day long. So I kind of wanted to be like, hey, let's everyone talk about our bodies. And if we talk about women's bodies more, then it won't be crazy.
Right, we need to.
It won't feel like this is wild. It'll be like, no, that's just a vagina.
It's just anatomy. Like, half the world has one.
Exactly.
No, but you mentioned something about someone on the House floor being shushed for saying vagina. Talking about female reproductive rights, I feel like I don't pay attention to the news. I hate to out myself as that person, but I live in a bubble of my own creation. Can you tell us more about that what happened? Do you know?
Well,
you wrote about it, but
I wrote about it, but then I also forgot about it because life is scary. But no, it's just you guys are great.
I set you up for a really good one here.
No, this is totally fine. We're going to just make it work. So. No, but it's just very. She powered through it, but it was definitely they're
on topic.
Yeah, and there's all these dudes talking, all these old white dudes. Just to be clear,
the experts on vaginas,
right?
Clearly, yeah.
These old shriveled white dudes, and they don't want to hear a woman at all talk about the female body and in relation to a bill. And she powered through. She's like, no, I'm gonna stand my ground and freaking talk about this, which I thought was amazing.
Completely.
Yeah. So.
It made me think about how I read something, or actually I even heard about this in the office at HuffPo. Ariana Huffington is anti using military language in the workplace. I've heard she's put not an official ban, but she's discouraged her staff from using words or phrases like crushing it, killing it. And I know you just work with Jill Soloway, who I also read an article about, who also has called out this sort of militaristic language on sets, or the language used on sets, like point and shoot and all this kind of stuff, is being kind of militaristic. And you worked with Jill Soloway.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. How was that?
She's a literal genius.
Yeah.
I'm so obsessed with her. So we're working on this new show called I Love Dick that's starring Kevin Bacon.
And Phoebe's really great in it, by the way, if you haven't seen.
Mm-hmm. I'm in a recurring part.
But it has a lot of pop and presence, just from a casting perspective and
You're the best.
Well,
so yeah, it's Kevin Bacon. I want to be the ham says bacon. He's gonna throw up when he hears that.
Doubtful.
And Kathryn Hahn, who I'm obsessed with from Transparent, and Griffin Dunn. It's a lot of amazing actors. And what's great about Jill is she had a couple of phone calls with me before I flew out to Marfa, just to be like, who are you? What's your deal? How are you feeling about everything? And I was like, well, I don't act a lot. I'm really trying to step into the whole acting world. And she was just so sweet and tender and just you're going to be great. Yeah. Don't even worry about it. And then my favorite thing about working with her is on set, she never says action.
Oh.
She never says
does she
it.
say?
She'll just be like, whenever you're ready. And then she'll go sit down. She's or she'll be like, take your time. Oh. And she just goes, sits down. And sometimes you'll be like, oh, I should go. She'll be like, no. Seriously. Take your time.
Did that work for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, that's awesome. Everyone should say that. Because action is very intense to be like, okay, now feel it's very, you know what I mean?
Agree.
It's not how people behave in real life. And so that's kind of how that was. And she's like, when you're on set and you're watching people, you're watching the scene, you're just engrossed in it. A lot of times you'll cross your arms because you're just focusing. And she says, don't do that because it makes the actors stress out. So she's just stand real loose, just like you're hanging out. So everyone feels like it's a safe space. So she's so wonderful. Cool. I love her.
I really just wanted to ask about that.
Yeah.
I feel like it was now I feel selfish. I'm wanting to take notes and be more chill.
But yeah, the show's coming out next year, and I don't know when, but we start shooting this month.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Congrats on
Thanks
that.
so much.
You're a very dynamic performer, so I'm glad we get to see more.
Yes, thank you.
Have you always been this into pop culture? I know I heard a rumor that you didn't have cable growing up. Neither did I.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no cable. It was an unnecessary expense.
Yeah.
I also went to a private school that was sort of like a squeeze on the budget, so things like cable had to go.
Yeah.
Do you think that affected your imagination or did your time? Do you feel like did you watch, I mean, you obviously watched a lot of TV, but like how much more would it have been if there was cable, right? Or did you like watch it at your friend's house?
I watched a lot of TV, so it was a lot of like Melrose Place, you know, Felicity, Moesha, a lot of that. And I watched like a lot of movies. And originally I thought I was going to be like a serious film writer. Like, I thought I was going to
That's what you went to school for.
Yeah, I went to school at Pride, and I studied screenwriting. I thought I was going to be a serious writer and win Oscars and, like, marry Robert De Niro. Like, I was very much, like...
Those things could still happen, by the way.
They could still happen.
Yeah.
He's a little older, but it could still happen. And I was like, I'm going to write my own version of American Beauty about some, like, floating trash bag. Like, I really was, like... so obnoxious when I was 17. And then so I was just always, I was so immersed in film and just really, I still love film. It's so great. It's such a great medium, but also TV is amazing now. And the fact that I get to be a part of it and still do comedy and write, like I really feel like I get to do sort of all of it, which is nice.
Yeah, you are doing all of it too, and doing it well.
Thank you.
When you mentioned in the book that when you first tried stand up, that it was like sort of an instantaneous thing for you, that you just like instantly knew like, oh, this is what I was meant to do. But then you also talked about how that was like something you kind of were like, that's kind of lame, that's kind of corny, like you didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
But then, like, so what happened for you? And like, did it happen? Like, was it really instant, or was it like over time? Like, you had to have bombed some sets. I mean, I know you're amazing and a goddess and everything, but like, you couldn't have been like, oh, my first set and it was perfect. But maybe it was. Was it? Like, did you ever fail? And like, where at what point were you like, this is me? And
so I started doing stand-up July 2008, and my friend Lindsay wanted to take a stand-up class at Caroline's, and I was like, stand-up is dumb. Like, I never really watched stand-up. Like, I knew George Carlin was a person, but I like, not one of those people where I was like 12 and just like listening to vinyl of Carlin and Lenny Bruce. Like, I was not doing that. I was like, Ricky Martin,
I know there's like people who talk about like, I watched SNL and I would just like transcribe the scenes and all this shit. I think my husband is one of those people, maybe. But like, I never did any of that.
Get out of here with that.
Yeah,
that's
no.
garbage.
You're just like watching and enjoying and living your life.
Yeah, I was living my life. I was being a tween or whatever. And then, so I was 24? And so my friend was like, look, I was working in film. I was an executive assistant. I wasn't really liking my job. I was kind of miserable. It was long hours, and like, I don't know, it just didn't feel like, I was like, this is not what life is supposed to be. But I was like, I guess I'll just do it, because I have health insurance, and that's like enough. Not enough.
Well, but your parents were probably like, she's health insurance, right?
Yeah, they were great. They were like, this is like what you want. And I was kind of like, kind of, maybe not. And so when Lindsay was like, come on, just take the class, it'll be so fun, I was like, all right, I'll do it because of you. And so we went to Caroline's and we saw Daryl Hammond do like an hour, and he was hysterical. He was so funny. I was like, oh, that looks like pretty cool. And so then our homework was to write, I think, like 1 minute of material, which is like so short. But at the time, we're like, 1 minute of jokes? Are you kidding me? And so we all like wrote our jokes and like met up together. Like, we took this very seriously. And then we showed up to this room. It was basically like in like a basement and like just like a bunch of chairs. It was like basically a support group layout. And we all just like got up and touched this microphone, just like started saying our jokes like awkwardly. And when I did that, I was like, this is pretty cool. I think I like this. And so the class was like 8 weeks, and then we had our graduation show where we all had to do 5 minutes. And I'm sure my jokes were like kind of dumb, but like I had good stage presence and I really loved it. So I was like, all right, I'll just like keep doing this and I'll just figure it out. Like, I'm not. Like, you guys know me, I seem very, like, I plan a lot. But then with that, I was just like, I think it'll all work out. So I just was like, I'll just do stand-up and some stuff will happen. And then it did. Hello, I'm here. I'm wearing Spanx. It's great. Thank you.
Yeah, and when you, like, mentioned that you had so much confidence and that it almost, like, gave you more confidence off stage, too, to sort of to speak your mind and speak your truth. And I think that's just I think it's interesting to think about like how stand-up affects that, because you do detail some incidences in your life where you didn't speak up And I think it's great that, like, you found this outlet that it seems like it just, like, clicked your confidence and, like, in for you. And, like, does that really mark for you just the time when you were able to, like, call bullshit on people and speak your truth, or was it more complicated than that?
Well, no, I think so, because it was like, oh, I can write these funny things and then go on stage and people will laugh because of funny things I said. It just felt, it was such a mind-opening experience for me, especially because I had, like, super low self-esteem. Like, I went to, like, a private, like, mostly white high school, and I was very skinny. I was very thin. Like, I never got asked out, never went on dates. And I think, like, mentally, it, like, fucked with me a little bit to be, like, I just assumed, like, oh, I'm not pretty, like, only pretty girls are, like, white girls. Which I know is, like, makes me cringe to say that now because I know better. But at the time, it really felt like, oh, that's the equation. That's the problem. Just, like, I'm not gonna ever be, like, anyone's dream girl or whatever. And so I just really kind of, like, carried that through my life for a while. And I had to, like, work through that. And, like, I'm past that now. I'm, like, clear and clean. Got my antibiotics. And so, yeah, I'm in a place where comedy really made me feel confident, and really, I met all these great people, and I had great friends, and even when you do, like, crappy shows that, like, suck, like, the first show I ever bombed at, it was at New York Comedy Club, and some friends of mine were in town. I was like, yeah, you guys should all come and see me do stand-up. And that's always, never invite a bunch of people because you will always be terrible when they show up. So I was like, yeah, come out, we'll go. Then we'll go to a Halloween party. Fuck yeah. And then I just died on stage. It was 10 minutes of, like, silence. Like, my brother's, like, college friends came, and I was like, I need to get some Mike's Hard Lemonade, because I was still new to drinking.
Do you remember any of the jokes at all?
I don't.
Okay.
Which is
they were that
great.
bad that you're like, I'm going to banish these from memory.
And I, like, you know, I felt like your first bomb, you really are, like, your skin is hot, and you feel like a terrible person. You don't want anyone to look at you, and you're kind of like, you go back, you're like, how did I get to this point? Where were all the mistakes that were made that got me to this point? And then you get used to bombing. You're just kind of like, I don't care. Like last year, Chanel, it was last year when I was trying to make a tape for Comedy Central, and I bombed for 35 minutes. You remember that? Do you remember that? Because I do. It was terrible. But because I, like, the second minute in, I was like, oh, yeah, this is going to hurt. And so I just did the jokes, and it, like, didn't really bother me. But that's, like, after 7 years of doing it, where you're like, it's fine.
Yeah, but that's part of that vulnerability thing.
Yeah.
Like, making yourself vulnerable, being okay to fail.
Yeah.
Or being okay with failing publicly. Can I just look at my notes really fast?
Look at it. No
Thank
pressure.
you.
This is a safe space.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Oh, this sort of ties into that in some roundabout way. I wrote down that this quote from your book where you said, I suspect the main reason I kept this dream to myself, the dream of acting, I suspect I kept this dream to myself because the scariest part of working in entertainment isn't doing all the work it takes to build a career or even failing. It's wanting that dream in the first place. You have to take the leap and put the work in and go all in. And being all in means there's nowhere to hide. You just have to stand there, Scott Stapp style, which I love that you said that, with arms wide open, and accept, and she quotes that, arms wide open, and accept the good and the bad that comes from trying and failing and trying and failing. You have to be vulnerable. That, like, resonates with me so hard, because as women in particular, and it's hard to make as a human, it's hard to make yourself vulnerable. And you have to do this. And then, but you go on and you call yourself a slacker, kind of, which I thought was interesting when you talk about, right after that, you talk about acting not presenting itself as a reasonable option. You wanted to take a practical route, and you saw yourself as a slacker. A slacker, though, like... I was. In high school, really?
I'd call Octavia and Philip. They would be like, I was a dumpster fire. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. I got it together, but I was not.
Do you still think... You don't think of yourself as a slacker
now,
I think
do you? I'm very hardworking now, but even, like, 2 years ago, I think like 6 months before I met Robert, who emailed me about working on a book together, I was like legit like, I think I'm gonna quit comedy. Like I was so
Really?
yes.
Oh God, I'm so glad you did it.
I thank you. Me too. But yeah, I couldn't book anything, and I was like seeing like all my friends were booking stuff, and I was like living in this like dumpy apartment in New York where it was like there's always like ceiling mold and like cockroaches, and I'm lying to my parents like things are great, I love it here.
I've had those conversations.
Yeah, we're like, I don't need money. Pfft, what? It's like I need all of the money right now. And yeah, 2014 was a tough year. I was like, this is not it. I don't think I should be doing this. Like, it really was like having doubts. I was like depressed, and you know, my parents were just like, I was telling everyone, I was like, I'm going to quit comedy and I'm going to be a dental assistant. Like, this was legit. I was like, this is the career path for me. I'm going to just do that. And my parents were like, you're not quitting. And I was like, but you don't understand.
Oh, they were like, don't quit.
They were like, my parents are all about like tough love. Like they're basically a Lanya Van Zant. That they're very much like, get your shit together. You're like, okay. Like black parents aren't like going to be like, it's okay. They're going to like cuss you out. And you're like, great. But my parents are like, you're not. They're like, you just have to like get through it. And I was like, I know, but I can't like get into comedy festivals. My dad was like, okay, but then that's not going to be forever. And I was like, but it feels that way. So I had a really like kind of like come to Jesus year where I was like, am I going to keep doing this? And I just kept doing it because I was like, well, I'm an admin assistant. I was like getting my boss coffee, and I was like, well, I don't have any other option. I guess I'll just keep doing stand up. But it was really to get to that place where you're like, this might be, I might have to just be done with it. I think it's very important for every creative person because it really tests you. So I think it's great. Like, this is great. Like, having my face here, like Phil Collins, is great. In the air tonight, you know?
It's a spectacular
# face
photo.
value.
Yeah.
Great album. But, like, this is, like, this, like, all of this is great, but, like, this isn't real life in a way. Like, most of creative is like the struggle and like things not working. Like all
It's so much the stuff that's not working.
Yeah, it's all the things that people like don't see. And they're
Yeah.
like, oh,
the
you
failed
just,
projects.
Yeah,
and the
like,
failed
oh, you
scripts.
just got a book, you got a podcast, and it's like, girl, come on.
Yeah,
I
no,
started-
this didn't happen overnight. This
Yeah.
was like a many years in the works.
Yeah.
Thing.
Yeah, like I
Yes.
had a blog that would get like 42 views a day. Like, that's terrible. But yeah, I worked it out and I stuck with it, and that really helped. So I really feel like having the really dark where I think I might be done is something you need to feel in order to get to like the good stuff.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I guess I just find it interesting that you sort of were positioning yourself as like taking this sort of behind the scenes route. That I mean, that just resonated for me because I didn't have performing dreams, but also like I did have bigger aspirations than what I put on paper.
Yeah.
You know, so I totally related to that, and I find it interesting that you were like, no, I'm just gonna just stand in the back here and like
Yeah.
write and like take the back door approach because you didn't maybe find yourself like. Is it because your parents didn't present that as like a viable career path for you, or is it because you were just like you were in Ohio and you're like, I don't know anybody who works in the industry, like how am I going to get there, or like
Yeah.
you just didn't like dare to dream to do it, like
Yeah, I was
those
like
things
in Ohio, and I was
Yeah.
like, this is like so far away from LA. Like, I used to watch like Inside the Actor's Studio,
Yeah.
and be like, I'm gonna prepare my answers for James Lipton, but I was like, I'm in Ohio, what I'm gonna do, and then all the plays were just like in school were just like white people, so I was just like, all right, I get, I'm funny, but I guess I'll just write for white people, which is like not a bad job, it's great, but also I like writing for myself. But I was just very much like, I guess just performing isn't going to happen for me. So I'll just like write. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think once I started doing stand up, I was just kind of like, oh, I started to discover my own voice, and I started to feel that I was relevant and necessary and important as much as like the straight white guys in comedy, and they will all make you feel like your voice is trash if you don't have a penis. But it was really important for me to just like kind of find myself and be like, I'm gonna own who I am, and I'm not gonna waver in that. Yeah, and like being in New York, you can you can do whatever you want in New York. There's always like,
You really can.
yeah.
You straight up can.
Yeah, you can meet someone who could teach you how to do the thing that you want to do. You know what I mean?
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Ben just, like, my husband, Ben, just, like, figured out a way to, like, learn how to fix a bike. Just from, like, wanting to exchange, not services, but, like,
Yeah.
time and information. Like, you could always trade something in this city for, like, something else. Like, can I get a free workout and I'll hook you up with these people over here who are,
Yeah.
like, a talent booker in comedy, and maybe we'll have a deal. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like there's, like, ways you can be resourceful in
Yeah.
this city to make your dreams come true based on whatever you have to trade.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you did that too.
Yeah, and then like, as you're doing more comedy and more writing and stuff, you're just kind of like, you look at the landscape, and I feel like right now is like super great. Like, it's like your show, which is that, you guys watch High Maintenance. It's like literally so
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you.
I rewatch episodes of like everyone. Like, they come over like, have you seen High Maintenance? Like, I'm so obsessed.
That's
But
very
there's like
nice.
your show. There's like Atlanta, Better Things. Like, there's just
a lot of good stuff.
So many great things are coming out this year where it feels like the most possible, I think, for people like me.
Yeah,
to
it's
be
an
like,
exciting time.
oh, I can be out there. So it's great.
You are
Yeah.
out there.
But even more
by the
out
way.
there.
Yeah, no. We can all use more Phoebe.
Yeah.
That being said, does anyone have any questions out in this beautiful, very attractive audience?
This is a great It's very
I just sort of like,
multiculti.
the full impact just happened for me. I was totally like,
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh wow, it's a catalog.
Yeah.
here of some sort.
It's like Adelia's catalog. Just kidding, you guys. I'm kidding.
Oh my God.
Also, this is my childhood, so how dare you?
But I really love the joke that you have about Delia's in there, about it being like, what did you call it? A StubHub.
Oh, the way that they spell it.
Yeah.
It's like a captcha. It's like, why is this company spelled this way? It's so stupid. And my mom used to let me get the Delia's catalogs, and I would like go and highlight and like all the things that I want. She'd be like, "You're not getting anything from here. We're going to Dillard's." So like, she was like, "You're not shopping at Delia's," and I was like, "All right, thanks,
It
Mom."
was fun to look, though.
It was
I was
so
there right
great.
there with you, but I was
Yes.
going to TJ Maxx or
Oh,
Ross Dress for Less.
nice.
So
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah.
Great, awesome.
I was a Maxinista in high school because of my mom. Yeah, seriously, no one has any like.
No question.
Well, they haven't read the book yet. There's that too.
Yeah. Does anyone? Should we
you
do
have a
like
question.
microphones or?
No, you probably just shout it out.
Okay. I didn't know if the people at home could like hear the questions though.
I'll repeat them if
Okay,
they're
great.
not. Yeah.
Sorry, I don't need to micromanage.
But you can. You're great.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was like, I was like, I can't keep like lying down, eating like milk chocolate covered graham crackers and crying every night. You've done that for 3 nights in a row, you're done. And then it was just kind of like, what really helped for me, I was like, all right, comedy is really hard right now, and I live in a crappy apartment, and I can barely pay my rent. And I had to be like, all right, but why did I start doing comedy? I started because it was fun and it was low stakes. It was just fun. And that's why I started it. And I was like, I think a lot, I don't know if anyone else does stand up here, but a lot of the industry, they make you feel like if we don't pick you, you're shit. If we don't pick you, you aren't funny. And so I was putting so much pressure on myself for like every audition. If I didn't get the job, what am I doing wrong? If I didn't like crush every stand-up show, like what's happening? If I like didn't get a writing job, well, I guess I'm not a good enough writer. So I had to take the pressure off of myself and be like, I got into stand-up when I didn't know that it was a thing, and I was just hanging out with friends, and we were just doing shows and then staying up till like 3 a.m, eating fast food or hanging out at a diner. It was really just like an 80s movie where we just hang out at a diner, and eat chicken wings and just like be like, did you see Chris Rock's special? Like, I can't wait to do that. You know what, like intro music I'm gonna come out to in my special, like all of that. I had to get back to that place because I think it was too much like, I have to make it. Oh, I'm gonna be 30, I gotta make it. Oh, if I don't make it by then, and it's like, okay, so what?
And that never works in
Yeah.
my experience too. Like I feel like if you talk to anybody in this city or else anywhere who's had success in like the creative, arts, it really does feel like it's because they did the one thing that felt true to them. It wasn't because they did that stupid job that like somebody paid them a lot of money for, but they didn't love it, but they did it for them. Like it's never that thing. It's all like the thing that launches people is always like when they speak the truth and when they do the thing that feels real for them and like their passion. Not to be a cliche, but like for real. Like it's just, but it's one of those like really simple truths that eludes a lot of people, or you just get caught up in other stuff here.
Yeah, and you have to remember that like things are like never going to happen when you want them to.
Never.
You're like, I'm gonna get a boyfriend by 29. It's like you'll be single at 31. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's never gonna happen on your timeline because there's so many other things that are happening in the world. So it's like you just have to focus on the things that you can control. And for me, it was like, all right, well, I can control writing jokes today. I could feel sad, or I could write jokes today while I'm feeling sad and pull myself out of it. And I can, hang out with friends who don't do comedy because there's more to life than comedy. There's more to life than being on Seth Meyers. That was great. Again, that's not reality. And so for me, it was like, I sound like Oprah right now. I'm like living my best life. But really, it was like, am I living my best life? Am I like really like having the full experience? I'm in New York. New York, it's amazing. It smells like garbage, but it's amazing. There's so many insanely great things about this city that I was not appreciating because I was so stuck in my career doesn't look like what my friend's career looks like. That's fine. You're two different people. But I was so stuck in that place that I couldn't see outside of it. So once I got to a place where I'm like, let me just change my perspective, that really helped. And my parents being like, you're not quitting, like they annoyed me when they said that because I wanted them to tell me like, oh, it's okay if you want to quit. Like I wanted them to like feed into that, and they didn't. So like didn't talk to them for 2 weeks. I was like, you guys are annoying, but feel that. And they were like, whatever, like watching freaking Criminal Minds, we don't care. But I definitely was like, I wanted someone to kind of make me like kind of like feed into that, and like they didn't. So I was like, all right, well, no one's going to indulge me in this. I guess I got to just kind of rally, you know? That was a long answer, sorry. But
great.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, she's
Over
so cute.
here,
Hi.
yeah. What's your question? Yes, please.
Yes. Okay, so, You Can't Touch My Hair was just when Robert and I sat down and he was like, okay, take Thanksgiving, like, think about, like, what you want to write about. And I took a couple of weeks. I was visiting my friend Baron Vaughn in LA, and we're super close, and we're like brother, sister, and he was just like, you should kind of do something punchy because, like, you complain a lot. But, like, he meant it, like, in a good way where it's like, you should be, like, one of the things you complain about. And I was like, oh, yeah, people touch my hair all the time. It's so annoying. And he's like, that's a great title for your book, like, You Can't Touch My Hair. And I was like, yeah, it is a great title. So that's how I came up with it. But it happens so much, and it's really annoying. Like, it happened. I was in LA last week because I was on Conan, no biggies. Did you guys watch it? But I wore a cute, like, red romper.
You looked great.
Thank you.
Yeah. And you were funny and well-spoken.
Thank
and
you.
You looked really grounded, and we were all talking backstage about how it was cool that you weren't, like, shifting around in your chair and everything like the starlets do.
Yeah, it's like,
you were very comfortable. Yeah.
I love working with Jake Gyllenhaal. He's just so great. It's like, he was in Prince of Persia. He sucks.
Wait, sorry.
Really? I'm so dumb. It's fine. Anyway, that has nothing to do with the answer. So, but it happens a lot, and I change my hair a lot. Like, sometimes I have it long, sometimes I have dreadlocks or afro. So anyway, I just done Conan. I was in the hotel lobby talking to a friend of mine who like was shooting something. We were just like catching up. I was just sitting on this couch in my sweatpants and like whatever. And this white lady is like approaching me and she's like smiling really bigly. I'm like, oh, well, maybe I know her. And I was like, oh, I don't think I know her. Maybe she listens to Two Dope Queens. And so she was like approaching and she was like, hi. And I was like, hey. She's like, oh, you're on the phone. I just want to say you're really pretty. I was like, thanks so much. Because I'd taken all my makeup off, so this was like the real me. And she loved me for it. And so I was like, thanks so much. And I went back to my phone call. And then she just kept like hovering around, like walking back and forth. And I was like, okay. So I kept like trying to have a conversation, even though I noticed that she's like pacing back and forth. And then she just does this, lean forward. She just was doing that to me, and I was like, wait, what? And she's like, oh, I just think you're really pretty. And then she went to the bathroom, and I was like, it keeps happening. I wrote a book. It should be done. So it happens all the time. And like whenever I tell, so my friend Alana Glazer, she posted about the book on Instagram, which is very sweet of her. And this white dude commented, he goes, you know, if you tell someone that they can't touch you, they're going to resent you. Like, you're not going to be likable. And that right there is very much like a woman is not allowed to have ownership over her body. Because, like, God forbid someone doesn't like you for half a second. I don't give a shit. It's my body. Don't touch me. I don't know you. Your name is not Michael B. Jordan. There's no reason for you to touch me ever. So that's the book title, and I've been getting a lot of angry dudes tweeting at me being like, get over yourself, no one wants to touch your hair. And I'm like, cool, egg avatar. Fuck off. Anyway, I'm gonna do all this on Charlie Rose. They'll be like, okay, great. But I hope you thank you for asking that question.
Wait, but did you always know that was going to be the title of, like, when did this essay come in the lineup of things?
Titles are my jam. Like, you
come up with them before the project sometimes?
Yeah, I can't write unless I have a good title. Because I'm like, the title for me is the hook. And that's going to carry me through when I can't. Like, there were times where writing this book, like, sucked and, like, was calling Kate, and I would be like crying and be like, I hate this book. But I'm like, you can't touch my hair. It's such a good title. You can't waste this title. So it like kept me through the writing process. So yeah, the title came first. And
okay.
I think I wrote about hair pretty early on. And then I wrote about like YouTube also early on.
Yeah.
I love them so much.
Yeah, that is a fun fact about Phoebe, if you don't know.
Yeah.
That she loves you too.
I
is
do.
just, I don't meet many people in general that
I
are like,
know.
I love you too. And like,
you know what? They're out there. I'm going to be a YouTube truther. They're out there. What if that was a quick comedy to be like, who fucking likes you too?
Second Life. That's like later down the road when you get sick of this shit. You just be like, all you two, all the time. I actually met somebody whose mom.
Don't even say it.
No, not you too. But
great.
Like, I met a person whose mother in their retirement discovered Michael Jackson. Like, had not ever listened to Michael Jackson.
Never heard of,
heard of him and like peripheral, like any, you can't live in this world and not know who Michael Jackson is, but like she like got into him and like learned about his story and like everything like in her like golden years.
That's
like,
so cute.
And now she runs like a message board about Michael Jackson and is like super into Michael Jackson, this like 60-something-year-old woman.
I love that.
I find that really interesting. Sorry, I mean,
Wait,
I don't know if
should I start a YouTube message board? Is that
I'm just saying it's never too late.
Okay, great.
And you might not have, you don't have time to do that now. Let's be real. You have like
maybe later.
Yeah, maybe later.
Yeah,
it's a viable option for a way
right?
to spend your time that you would enjoy probably, and I would enjoy.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah.
I think it'd just be you and me, basically.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I have so much to learn. I feel like teach me because I don't know. I had like, what was the one? Zootopia? Is that it? Oh, yeah. I had that one.
It's an underappreciated album.
It was really good.
It's great.
I got it in BMG or like Columbia or one of those CD for 2 cents.
That whole business model was ridiculous. Like,
they got me.
But it was like, we're just going to send you CDs and you just pay us whenever. Like, what the fuck?
I never paid, and I was always in trouble.
That's like a crazy rich person scheme. Like, I don't care about money. Here's 5 young cannibals. Ha ha ha. It's like, what? You don't want money for that? Also, that was a great pull. Fine Young Cannibals.
Yeah, thank you. That was a deep
That
cut.
should have gotten more because that was off the top of the dome. You guys.
I'll give it to you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, Simply Red. I could have said that. You know.
Oh, that would have been good too. The
Terrence
same
Tripp.
genre somehow. Why is that?
Wait, what?
Did you say Simply Red?
Yeah.
Yeah. How are they? They're like the same.
They're the same.
Right? But why?
Just because it's like,
I know.
like that. All their songs sound like that to me. I'm like, great.
They do. It's smooth and
So
MTV
smooth.
Europe. I just think of like MTV Europe when I
Yeah.
hear those songs. Somebody out there knows. Anyway, does anyone else
Any
have a
more
question?
questiones? You guys, don't be shy.
I know.
I look cute.
Oh, thank you.
Okay,
yes,
thank you.
you back there. We
Yes.
can hear you.
Yeah. Oh.
Yes. So she's asking about Phoebe's friendships. If she could talk a little bit about those. She's also very busy right now. So how does she even have time for her friends? But also, yeah, what friendships are meaningful to you in
Yeah.
your life right now? And
Yeah.
yeah.
I think turning 30 is literally so lit. It's like, it's so great because you turn 30, you're like, I don't care about anyone else except for my parents, my friends, and someone who's going to give me Hamilton tickets. Everyone else can fuck off. It's so, you just cut so many people out of your life. It's not even like, you don't even give a heads up. You just like you like stop responding to text messages and you feel great about it. And you just you prune everything, and you just get like your ride or die people, and those are the people that you want to hang out with. The people who don't like have drama, they're always like suck you into your drama. Those people you're like, bye, see you later. And I think like in my 30s, I'm really valuing like my female friendships a lot. Like I was always a tomboy, which is a term I hate just because it's like whatever. I like the shit that I liked. And so I will have like a lot of like male friends, and I feel like in my 30s I really like triple down on my female friendships, and they are really like a lot of these ladies are like the loves of my lives, and it's been really great to just like have the sisterhood of like traveling pants, and that's an accurate response to that reference. But for me, it's really been just about like, I don't know. I feel like women, like society doesn't like us. They hate when we have opinions. They hate when we get older. And they hate when you're like not white and you're a woman. They're like, that's a real bummer for them. And they're like, why is that? How did that happen? It's like, my parents fucked. Civil rights is how that happened. Anyway, so for me, it's just like having these female friendships where we can like all support each other, and like I love championing my friends. I love just being like, this person's amazing. You're
really
awesome.
good at that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see you. You're always like, woo, to all your friends
Yeah.
and hyping them up online and on social media.
Yeah.
And
I'm just like
Yeah.
obsessed with my friends. Like I love them so much, and like I always like, is the sheer still here?
yes.
Yeah, like I will just like be at home. I just will like Google her and just like read articles about her. I do that with all of my friends. Like
That's
if I
so
like
nice.
if I like people, it'll be like 1 a.m. I'm like, let me just Google and see what Michelle Boutel's up to, and I'll just like read a bunch of interviews and be like, oh, that was a great way to end my night. And so I don't know. I really just seen other like awesome women kick ass. I feel re-energized. Like I don't need sleep. I just need like an interview with like Huffington Post with like Alana Glazer. I'm like well rested, and so I think a lot of women are like that too, and it's
For
not
sure.
really portrayed that much. So I think like getting older, I'm really value those friendships more, and I really put the energy and time invested into it a lot more than I did in my 20s. In your 20s, you're like, whatever, I'm gonna just like sit at home and not see my friends for 6 months. But now I'm like, no, I have to see your face. So I think like not that much has changed, even though I'm like slightly more well known. I feel like all my female friendships are like pretty rock solid. I'm still on Tinder. I'm trying to get on Riot, but they're like, you're not famous enough. I'm like, good point. But Riot, come on.
Oh yeah, I just heard about that one.
Right? Joe Jonas is on it. I want to see what that story's about.
I also want to know who else is on it, so I want you to
think-
go on it so you can tell me.
I heard tale Elijah Wood is on it.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
So there's some and then there's
interesting.
like a lot of like business dudes. There's a lot of like fucking like Ray Donovan dudes, and you're like, gross. I don't want to see those guys.
No,
It's
no
just
one wants
like
to see
I don't
those
want to
guys.
fucking see a Docker khaki on the. It's a lot of that. I'm like, ugh.
There might be a few though that you have
Yeah.
to like wade through to get to the good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I answer your question at all? Okay, great.
Cool.
Sometimes it's just talking. I don't know where it goes.
Anyone
more-
else have
any
a
more
burning
questions?
question? Oh, hey.
Yes.
I'm going to repeat the question real
great.
quick. For those who might not have heard, she was asking about clothing specifically because we're at Refinery 29, and Phoebe looks amazing. But yeah, how much thought do you put into getting ready and to go on stage? There's sort of that stereotype of women in comedy, at least in the past, that were like they were putting on like the blazers and the bolos and the
Yeah.
whole thing, and like obviously that's changed. But now I think it's become bandage dresses and like
Yeah, like this, I would never wear this doing stand-up because it's like it's cute, but it's like not comfortable, and like sometimes like to straddle things, you can't do that in this dress. But I mean, you could, but after a few drinks, I like turn to Samantha Jones. You guys like die, please. Oh, honey, why did you talk like that?
I don't know.
Why did you talk like that? Oh my god. Anyway, so yeah, when I started out doing, I'm normally just like a jeans and t-shirt, like no makeup, like Alicia Keys, but really, I'm wearing no makeup.
I know, come on, please.
It's like I see your tinted
I know.
moisturizer.
Yeah, she's got some BB cream happening
Exactly.
for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But I'm like for real. I love Alicia, but like stop the lies. And so I was definitely just like jeans, t-shirt, like Converse sneaker, and like that's what I wear. And I would definitely was conscious about like not looking girly on stage. And now like I'll wear dresses. It's just like I don't know. I think just like dressing down is just like my comfort, and I don't think about like, well, if I wear a dress on stage, does that mean people aren't going to listen to me? Like I don't think that way anymore.
You're not trying to be sexy. You're trying to be comfortable. And
Yeah. And so I feel like my jokes are great enough that like I can wear whatever I want and people are going to like it. But I do think there's a lot of that in this industry where it's like you have to be a certain thing. If you're not a real comic, which I think is, it's boo boo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Any more questions? Oh,
Maybe
hi
over
Corey.
here. So what other writers did Phoebe ever get writer's block was the question. And if so, were there any other writers that she read to get inspired?
Yeah, I don't know if I had writer's block. It was more like writer's exhaustion where I was just like writing every day and I was just like, oh man, this is a grind. Like I don't know how Stephen King does it all the time. Like he's written like 80 books. I'm like, good for you, dude. But yeah, so I read Shonda Rhimes' The Year of Yes. And that was a huge boost for me. I was like, oh, yeah, I could do this. That was a great book to read. I also read Ta-Nehisi Coates' Between the World and Me, which, like, made me really sad. So I was like, maybe I shouldn't have done that. And then, like, so I follow, like, 4, fan Michael Fassbender accounts. And
we didn't even talk about this.
Yeah.
But well, you mentioned it in your
So I
essay,
follow
but-
4 of them, and I just would switch through them and be like, ooh, maybe I want like a Magneto story right now. So I like look at him just like holding out his hand. I'm like, maybe I want like a shirtless story. So I switched to another account. And then I would just call Kate. There were a lot of phone calls to Kate. Yeah. But yeah, I think Shonda Rhimes' book, out of all the things that I read while I was writing, was like the most inspiring, the most like, she's a badass, and she just made me feel like we all have our own inner badass. And so that book was like the book where I was like, yeah, this is going to get me out of this. So that really helped. And then sometimes like not writing was like the best recharge. Like I would just watch a bunch of TV and that would just make me feel a lot better. Like I was watching it wasn't Mad Men, but there was some show that I got deep into, and I was like, oh, this is great. And I was like, oh, yeah, my book is due. So then I would stop. But, like, watching TV will really help me just...
Well, I don't know. I say procrastination is
Yeah.
part of the process
It's
sometimes.
great.
You have to, like, turn it off for a second and,
Yeah.
like, absorb some shit and then go back to it.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know what that is.
More?
Yes? No?
Do
We're
we have,
done?
how
What's
much time do
happening?
you have? Maybe one more?
Facebook questions?
Do you have any Facebook questions?
Oh.
Okay, great.
Okay, good.
Do
we
we-
answered the Facebook questions.
One more question. This has to be good. No pressure. I'm just kidding. Thanks, Shanoa. They did not like that. I was kidding. It's a comedy.
Hi. Yes, ask your question. Hi, Lauren. It was almost harmony.
I know, right?
Dream collaborator.
Oh
Who?
my gosh. Ava DuVernay. I think that would be amazing. And I think she would push me because I'm very chill in my, like, I'm a funny lady zone. But I think she could push me.
I like that there was an invisible top hat involved. There's always an invisible top hat with comedy, right?
Right?
Yeah.
So I think that she would be, I mean, before it would have been like Jill Soloway. Like, honestly, like when I watched, like, I didn't watch Transparent when it first came out. And then second season, everyone was talking about it. I was like, what's the deal with this show? And so I'm like, I'm going to watch one episode and bet I'm not going to like it. I was being really testy to no one in my apartment. And I watched the entire 2 seasons in like less than a day. Like, I didn't shower, I didn't do laundry. And I was like, this show is amazing. I was like, I'm gonna meet Jill one day. And then this happened. So now next is Ava. I'm putting it out there. So hey, girl, let's do it. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I will say, I think that it's really important to, like, know what you want to such a specific degree because, oh my God, you guys, this stuff happens. Like, you really, if you can, like, visualize it, then it's, like, a possibility for you. I mean, I know we're speaking from a place of, like, we had some luck and timing and this and that come into play, but we also worked really hard.
So hard.
And speaking as to women who worked really hard and doing the things we like to do, like, I don't know, I just feel the need to say, like, it is such a, like, I'm sure you, I mean, I can tell from your book, like, you like name people and then they're like in your lives or in your life, and like same thing for me. I think it's really important to be able to like visualize it to such a specific degree that you're like, I want to meet that person, because you can fucking meet that person.
Yeah.
Like RuPaul just like retweeted.
I saw that. I
Come
almost
on.
died.
RuPaul is like my deity, like my everything, and like, but like that wouldn't have happened unless I was like, I like RuPaul, like I want that person to be in my life somehow, and it
You
happened.
should do season 2.
Yeah,
That would be amazing.
I think that would be amazing too.
Amazing.
But yeah, be specific with your visualizations and your like wish list of like who you want to meet, what you want to do. I keep dropping my phone. This is not a pro move up here. I had things on it and I didn't even look at it. But yeah, you are a testament to that. I think like just your book is just like peppered with stuff where you're like, I wanted to do this thing and I did it.
Yeah.
And you did. So. Inspirational. Read this book, you guys. It's so funny. It's so funny. It will make you LOL in public, and hopefully you're cool with that, because you will. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much for doing this. I emailed
you.
you. And I was like, I know she's busy with her show, but you said yes, and I was like,
So happy.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
happy
that's
too.
great.
So happy to know you.
oh, I'm happy to know you too. And thank you guys for coming
Thanks
out.
for coming out.
I hope you have fun, and I hope you buy the book. And should I pass over to Julie? Oh yeah.
So books are for sale. Hey guys. Books are for sale in the back. And Phoebe,
Get it.
if you're gonna sign them, right?
Of course. Why would I? Yes, of course I want to sign. So
Give it up
please.
for Katja and Phoebe.
Can we get a picture? Julie, can you take a picture of us? Thank you.
Up here somewhere.